Heartbreak. That's what got me, well, out of my funk. In a sense, at least. I was in a rut. Knew it. She did too. Guess we were in a rut, really. Ran its course. Doesn't mean it didn't hurt like hell, but, well, sometimes stories end, you know? So I did my piece. Curled up into the fetal position and fucking bawled. Days went by. Go to work. Go home. A zombie. Drank a lot more. But time wore down the edges eventually. And one day, I said fuck it. Packed my car, quit my job, and fucked off across the country. That was the plan anyway. Heading home. Maybe with my tail between my legs. I wasn't sure. It was a long drive. From the West Coast to the depths of the Midwest. From the shimmering golden shores to undulating aureate waves of grain. Radio stations fading in and out. Long stretches of static. Data dropping fucking everywhere. Sometimes I twisted through the AM band. Hellfire and brimstone. Vast conspiracies that always lacked imagination. What happened to the fun stuff? Lizard people, time travelers, Area 51. Not anymore. Everything's a fucking angle. Propaganda. Switch it off. I took a long way, choosing county routes over the interstate. I had time to kill, so why not? Might as well see some of this country. The back parts, dark parts, quiet parts, flyover parts. The you don't see anyone other than the locals and lost kind of parts. And I guess I was lost, right? In a sense. Though I was hoping I wouldn't become physically so. God knows I didn't need to slip through the cracks of the earth somewhere out near Kearney, Nebraska. But things did get strange. Shouldn't that be expected out in these less traveled places, though? Somewhere around Sheldon, South Dakota. I was at a rest stop, pulled over for a break, trying to get the last Cliff Bar to break free of the piece of shit vending machine, when I saw a black semi roll up. Now, when I saw black, I mean completely, utterly, entirely. A pitch black cab with tinted black windows pulling a matching black trailer. Even the rims were black. It stood out like oozing sludge against the golden baked landscape. I stood there by the vending machine, waiting for a while to see who would emerge. Of course I was curious, but no one did. It just sat there, this beast of a vehicle idling. I figured the driver must have been pulling over to take a nap or to call it quits from his shift. They can only drive so long, right? But you'd think they'd want to step out and stretch their legs. Eventually, I managed to hit the plastic of the machine just right to free my Cliff Bar. I tore it open, took a bite, and returned to my car. Back on the road. I had places to be. It was strange, though. I kept seeing the black truck after that. It passed me somehow, on the highway a few dozen miles from the rest stop. But I caught up, a few miles outside of Sioux City. I passed right alongside it, my eyes straining to see who was driving. Naturally, the windows were tinted too, and I couldn't see a damn thing. I just couldn't put it out of my mind. Such an odd sight. This big, beastly, pitch-black truck barreling across the dull Midwest. It didn't even have any markings. No company logo. No indication of what it was delivering, who it belonged to, or where it might be going. Well, it did have plates. Washington. But there was no way to know where it originated from. After passing by it and getting through Blue Earth, I saw it again at a rundown motel. The Cozy Inn. I had pulled off a few hours earlier, deciding to spend the night. I was exhausted, had pulled a 10-hour day and could barely keep my eyes open. The clerk put me up in some grimy room that looked like the set of more than one true crime series. Stained sheets, peeling wallpaper, a bathroom sink more inclined to spit out brown gunk than drinkable water. My window faced the parking lot. I sat up for a while, curtains drawn, vaguely watching the television playing one of those trashy true crime shows I feared I might end up on, and the parking lot. Cars occasionally came and went. I saw some of my neighbors, who looked mostly like travelers or perhaps vagrants. While a police officer was detailing a particularly gruesome scene on Murder Comes Home, I saw the black semi roll into the parking lot. Once again, it sat there idling, headlights blazing through my window. I grew irritated. I almost got up to go outside. As I was contemplating the possible dangers of such a decision, a woman approached the monstrous truck. She looked beautiful in a miserable way, with a short fluorescent pink skirt and heels too high for the pockmarked parking lot. She opened the passenger side door and climbed in, disappearing into the tinted darkness. The headlights went off, and for a while I watched. Silence save for the exploitative program murmuring in the background. Her limbs were buried in separate spots along the roadside ditch. My heart, broken though it was, thumped in my throat. Her head was never recovered. I walked outside, suddenly very concerned. I stood on the pavement in my shorts and t-shirt, facing the truck, no idea what I might do. The door opened. The woman stepped out, blood running down her neck. I ran up to her. "Miss, hey miss, are you okay? You're bleeding. Should I call an ambulance?" I was frantic, my eyes darting between the blood on her neck, trying to ascertain the source and the thumping truck. "Oh, I'm fine, just swell. Fucking grand." Her voice was dreamy. Her eyes were glazed over as though she was in a daze. I grabbed her arm. "I really don't think you're—" My voice was quivering, shaking from the pure terror of the situation. She suddenly became more cogent, grasping my hand. "You don't want to get fucking involved in this, kid." I thought that was an odd thing to say. She was younger than me. "I'm just trying to—" The headlights went on, illuminating us like a spotlight on a stage. The woman darted off, swaying as she did. I stood there, stupid not moving. All the lights in the parking lot went out, and all I could hear was the engine idling. The driver's side window rolled down. For a while, what seemed like an eternity, really nothing happened. But then a hand emerged, casually, finger curling backwards, calling me over. And so I walked. What was I going to do? Be rude? I couldn't see inside the cab, but a voice emerged. It was deep, bone-shaking. It didn't feel like it traveled through the air, more like it vibrated my eardrums, bouncing around my skull. "You're hurt." It took me a moment to gather myself. Hurt? Deeply, wounded, lost, like a stray dog. I squeezed my hands together and could feel tears welling up in my eyes. I can help." The voice pushed inside me. "You can? Get in. Come take a little ride. You'll feel better. Free, happy, complete." I stood in hesitation, my eyes on the hand, which was a deathly pale. It was almost translucent, but seemed so soft, gentle. I wanted to feel it on my cheek. "Okay." I walked to the other side of the cab, pulled open the heavy metal door, and climbed into the plush black seat. As soon as I pulled it shut, I felt hands all over me, in my hair, on my neck, roaming along my collarbones, grasping my shoulders. I couldn't tell how many. 4, 6, 8, soft and gentle and cold. I closed my eyes. I sank into the darkness. The headlights went out as the cab rumbled, pulling back onto the deserted county route, and I felt good. So good. Now, I don't feel anything at all. Not scared or sad or hurt or lost. I'm found. And now the night stretches on forever. There's a thirst in me that's new. It made me sick at first, but I'm growing accustomed to it. But it feels so nice to be found. Wouldn't you like that? To be found. So if you ever see a pitch-black semi rolling along the highway, think about flagging it down. And then, like me, you'll never have to die again.